Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Thomas. Here at ABC10, we stand for you, and that means giving you context, depth, and advice to help you and your loved ones navigate this changing world. So here's a collection of stories the team has been working on. For at least a year, a family was looking for their daughter, only to find out she had been dead the whole time. ABC10's Devin Truby looks into the local hospital now being sued for negligence for allegedly never telling the family she died in their care.
She loved us all, actually. She was the kind of kid that would give you her last jelly bean out of her pocket, even though it was full of fuzz.
Ginger Kanji now forced to talk about her 31-year-old daughter, Jessie Peterson, in the past tense. But at least it's a small bit of closure after her daughter had been missing for the last year.
People walking on the side of the street and slow down to see if it was her. Anybody that matched her stature or her color of hair. We went looking for her. We put posters up.
Ginger says she last spoke to her daughter in the beginning of April 2023 when she was at Mercy San Juan Medical Center to be treated for her diabetes. Ginger says the hospital told her that Jessie was discharged. A year later, a Sacramento County Sheriff's detective told Ginger that Jessie was dead. She in fact had died at that very hospital and had been in cold storage in the morgue the entire time.
Well, our hearts are broken. Pretty hard as a parent to think about your child living or not living. Being in a freezer someplace all by herself. The fact that she died all by herself, tucked away someplace that nobody cared.
Jessie's family is now suing Mercy San Juan for negligence.
I have a hospital called Dignity Health, and there was no dignity to Jessie or the family. Obligation of the doctor and the hospital is to issue the death certificate within 15 hours of the death. In this case, we have the death certificate that was issued a year after the death.
The hospital released a statement to ABC10. We extend our deepest sympathies to the family during this difficult time. We are unable to comment on pending litigation. The family said those condolences were never expressed to them. In Sacramento County, Devin Truby, ABC10.
The family is now requesting $5 million in damages. Meanwhile, police in Auburn have a warning about a new scam. People are posing as officers, telling residents they could face jail time and they need to send money. We spoke to a resident who took one of those calls over the weekend. ABC10's Roxanne Elias has more.
He began to tell me I was involved in some kind of lawsuit.
This Auburn resident, who does not want to be identified, says she was the target of a scam Saturday afternoon. She says a man with a deep voice called her cell phone multiple times until she called back.
And then he told me since I didn't show up to court, there was a bench warrant out for my arrest and that somebody was going to arrest me. And I said, no, that's not true.
The man identified himself as an Auburn police officer she knows and said a deposition was delivered to her home.
The most concerning thing is that they said they had come out to my house and then they had said my home address. That was concerning to me.
Sergeant Joe Almeida says a handful of similar calls were also reported to the Auburn Police Department over the weekend.
What they were concerned about was they were getting notifications, whether it be they might have a warrant and this is how you take care of it. They have outstanding documents, tickets, parking stuff, and they would pay with gift cards or do some type of deposit.
He says people believe these scams are real because they claim to be the police department calling you. But he says law enforcement agencies will never ask you to pay over the phone.
We typically will go out to your residence, so we're going to be in full uniform. We'll have her identification so you can verify whatever you need from us if we're not in full uniform. And that's how we make our contact if there's outstanding warrants or if there's any paperwork issues.
Other red flags include asking you for personal information such as your social security number and bank information.
On the call, they did tell me I was being recorded, and I said, okay, great, so you're going to record me asking you questions to verify whether or not this is true. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to follow your gut, because if your gut is telling you it's off, it's probably for a reason.
Police say the elderly are most likely to be targeted by these scams, but they don't believe that to be the case in this situation. So they're asking all residents to stay aware. Hang up immediately if you get a call like this, and then call police. Well, 10 on Your Side is getting results for a Sacramento woman who had major issues at her apartment complex. Take a look. We launched 10 on Your Side just this year by placing a spotlight on major concerns at this public housing complex.
How long have you been here?
17 years, actually the 5th of
December was 17 years exactly.
And what's the deal?
The deal is that we have a lot of water problems. The first month that I moved in here, all of everything on my kitchen side flew off the roof. I had no shingles, no paper, no nothing, and the whole ceiling collapsed in the front room.
We saw the property firsthand, and we took these images straight to the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency. Within 24 hours, they had crews on the roof making repairs, and weeks later, the roof was replaced. This is how it looked when 10 on Your Side started making calls, and this is how it looks now.
I couldn't believe that what took 17 years only took them 2 weeks. I mean, it was a way, it was like I was shocked. When I showed up one day and all of it was done, it was beautiful to see.
But we didn't stop there. Years of water damage led to safety concerns in the apartment. SHRA sealed off the unit, placed Melody in a hotel free of charge, and spent months making repairs.
Pretty much the whole apartment had to be gutted and redone, the whole thing.
Melody says she lived with holes in the ceiling and cracked and uneven floors. Each of those issues were addressed in the renovation.
It's finally getting done. The conditions of the apartment is better than it's ever been in the 17 years that I've lived here.
Better condition than it's ever been.
Ever been, yeah. I mean, the walls itself, the place just sounds like a solid foundation finally inside. The way the floors are, the floor is probably in the best condition it'll ever be. And my neighbor loves them for that.
SHRA sent 10 on Your Side this statement saying, as one of the largest landlords in Sacramento, SHRA provides safe, decent housing for 50,000 residents. Our staff works diligently to make sure our properties are well maintained and livable. In situations like this, a relocation agreement is issued to temporarily relocate a resident to conduct the necessary repairs.
Without you, none of this would be done. And without you guys, I would still have a roof that was just constantly collapsing over my head. You guys have done everything that I couldn't, which is a lot. I owe you guys a lot of, I thank you very much for all your help.
In all, this took about 6 months, and we promised to stay on this story. And don't forget, ABC10 is here to help. Do you have a problem and don't know where else to turn? Email me at onyourside@abc10.com. Of course, at ABC10, we stand for you by covering trends in the business community as well. It's where you work and how you spend your hard-earned money. So check this out. As inflation and increased labor costs lead to challenges for businesses, some are now turning to automation. ABC10's Alicia Machado took a closer look at a new pizza vending machine in Rancho Cordova. The owner says it's the first of its kind in the state.
Fresh out of the oven, a new business at the Nimbus Winery Shopping Center in Rancho Cordova. But this isn't just any pizza. It was placed in the oven and pushed out by a robotic arm at this pizza vending machine.
You're looking at the very first Pizza Forno pizza robot in California. So you're looking at the first one right here in the Sacramento area.
The 12-inch standard crust pizzas start frozen and are cooked right in the machine, ready in just a few minutes.
And once a selection is made, a robotic arm pulls it into a conveyor belt, and a robotic arm sends it up into the oven to cook it all the way around.
The pizzas are produced off-site. Customers can order their pizza hot or take a cold pie to cook at home. Owner Charlene Pabro-Leconte tells me she was inspired to start the business after seeing a pizza vending machine in France. She left her job in tech sales to pursue the venture, bringing it to the Sacramento area where she grew up. You might be wondering, why go with the automated system? Pabro-Leconte says convenience for customers and reduced labor and operational costs.
There's not a question of space. It's not a question of a huge staff to be able to operate on your day-to-day. So really kind of the labor expenses are actually minimized. So we're working with margins that actually will help small businesses thrive.
It's a topic on many business owners' minds, looking for ways to cut costs as inflation and labor and production costs present challenges for staying afloat. And in California, the minimum wage increase an added expense for businesses. Rob Wasmer, a Sacramento State professor with a background in economics and public policy, explained why automated machines are becoming more and more appealing for business owners.
Thinking about, where can I make the most money? Where can I minimize my cost? Especially when people are so price sensitive. When prices are high, they're not going to buy your product.
Professor Wasmer also noted the labor industry has seen businesses turn to machines throughout history. The pizza vending machine, a reminder that business minds continue to innovate new uses for automation.
Pizza Forno is headquartered in Toronto and has more than 60 locations across the United States and Canada. You never know what you'll see on the back roads, and this week John Bartell takes us to Sonoma County wine country to do a tasting at California's oldest champagne maker.
If you follow the Russian River through Sonoma County, the sound of clinking glasses gets louder as you approach the town of Corbell. This is the Corbell Bottling Factory, the oldest and largest champagne production facility in California.
We did 18,000 cases the other day.
Since 1882, Corbell's California champagne has been at some of the most iconic celebrations in American history, including every inauguration since Ronald Reagan. But that iconic bottle pop of Corbell's all started with the pop of a gun supposedly fired off in the air by Francis Corbell at a protest in Prague.
He was thrown in jail. The Habsburg guards pounced him and threw him in jail.
Corbell Winery tour guide Hillary Reddy says that jail sentence might have been the end of Francis Corbell's story, had it not been for his grandmother.
His grandmother broke him out of prison by smuggling his clothes in under her hoop skirt.
Once clothed, Francis apparently lit a cigar and walked out disguised as a commoner. Shortly after that, he and his brothers fled to California to strike it rich in the gold rush.
They missed the gold rush, so they came up here and bought this property.
The area that she's talking about is the Russian River Valley in Sonoma County. The Corbell brothers made it rich by cutting down redwood trees for cigar boxes. They invested a lot of that money into a number of businesses, one being a champagne production.
We were the first ones in America to make champagne.
The word champagne is only reserved for wine made in the Champagne region of France, but because the Corbells hired a Champagne region winemaker and they won a series of lawsuits, they were allowed to call their sparkling wine California Champagne. Even during Prohibition, the Corbells continued to make champagne. The winemakers were so bold, they even sent a bottle to President Roosevelt.
2 months later to the day, he toasted the end of Prohibition with Corbell Sec in front of the world under a sign that said Corbell Sec.
Now, Corbell wouldn't be one of the nation's largest winemakers had it not been for innovation. You see, champagne is difficult to make because the bottles must be rotated every day, but when the Heck family bought the Corbell Company in the 1950s, they started inventing ways to rotate the bottles and mass-produce Corbell's champagne.
This is what Adolf Heck invented, the automatic riddling rack in 1970, and it really did change the industry.
Hollywood discovered the Corbell Winery in the late 60s while filming the World War II themed TV show Combat, starring Vic Morrow. TV producers persuaded Corbell to allow the combat scenes to be filmed on the property by promising to blow up and remove old stumps in the vineyard.
They blew out over 1,000 stumps in 6 months.
Well, whether you're celebrating the end of a war, a new year, or a presidential inauguration, Corbell put California on the map for premier champagne production.
Now, is it proper? Should I hold my pinky out? Is that what I should do?
Only if you're feeling very presidential.
I am feeling presidential today. From California's oldest champagne cellar, Corbell in Guerneville, I'm John Bartell. Hope to see you on the back roads.
Now it's your turn. Have something in your town that would be a great road trip destination? Let John know by texting your idea to 916-321-3310. You can also watch his latest adventures right now on ABC10 Plus. And don't forget, we have more features just like this on the ABC10 Plus app. That's where you can also find the latest newscast and headlines and stay up to date on weather conditions. Thanks again for watching. I'm Chris Thomas. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Weekday mornings on ABC 10.
I know what we're doing. We're getting you ready.
Oh, you're going to know first.
About the breaking news that affects you.
What happened overnight right here in Northern California.
And across America.
Plus my 10-day forecast helping you plan and keeping you safe.
That's how we do mornings.
So you're ready to take on the day. ABC 10 Morning News.
And Good Morning America.
Right here on ABC 10.
See you weekday mornings starting at 5.